Okay, so next step, let's actually match this line drawing to the given property line. Okay, so how do we do this? There's also many ways of doing this. We need 16 feet and 6 inches offset from this line. You can do several things. One is create a line and snap into those two, selecting that line. By the way, if you have two things in the same place, you tap, you select the next one and the next one. If you have 100 things, you can go 1, 2, and the next. And then you press offset, so you can offset exactly the number you want, which I believe is 16.6, we say, no? Then you step on top of it, you don't press enter, and you can say either towards one side or the other one, no? You see how you have two options? And you click. 16.6. Now, in order to select the chain of lines, tap MV to move, or you can go to this button and snap, and you can delete this guy. That would be an option. So following that strategy, 5 feet for this one, you can do another line here. OF stands for offset. You give it a 5 feet. You press tab to select the chain, MV to move. You press it there, you delete one of them. You're done. Next, 10 feet from the bottom. Let me do another strategy. What if I do a line, another model line, and I give an offset here of 10? Watch what happens. I'm creating a line, creating the line using the property lines, but it's actually being drawn 10 feet away from it. No? So that's even faster, I think. I can press this guy, MV, actually both of them, tab, select chain, tab, control, select, MV, and you move it. Again, if you don't know one of these steps, you can do it your own way, which is basically selecting one, moving, and then delete this one. No? Next, well, it's 11 feet from this point, so again, we can do an offset, or we can create another line and give it 11 feet from this point. Oops, we don't want an angle, so 11 and perfectly horizontal. No? Now in this case, we don't want to do it that direction. We want to do a line, probably goes in this direction here, 11 feet offset. Select, MV, snap. Now, just to make sure, probably you can use some dimension lines, so you can go to annotate. We're going to be using annotations all the time. Use the linear, and the way it works in Revit is that you start selecting parts between them. So you go there, and you can double check 103, and you go to the previous page, correct. You can create more align to here and snapping from here to there, snapping. You can do this very fast to test that things are looking good, no? Okay, this looks 5, 11, and 6 is good. It's symmetrical. 103. That one is not good at all, no? Because this distance I haven't changed. It's actually 38. Okay, so I'm just going to delete the whole thing. I have discovered that not everything is working well. And what I can do is just another line or an offset as you wish to do, and say 38 there. Tab, MV to move. Make sure everything is orthogonal. You go to annotate, align, 38. Okay, linear, sorry. This is 10. This is 96. Good, good. And this should be 11, no? So we're good. I recommend that every time you draw anything, and we're going to do the levels right now, that you actually test that everything is properly drawn by placing annotation lines all the time. Okay, good. Next, I'm going to start creating levels, and I think the important page is 3 from the previous one is add levels 1 to 6 at 14 feet. So to add levels we should go to elevations. That's the best place to add levels. We have 2, as you can see, we have the lines created in plan, so be careful not to delete anything here. If you delete here, you delete it actually in the project. First thing that we notice that we have by default level 1 and 2, and that the distance between the levels by clicking on one level is 10. We want 14 feet, and we want to declare 6 floors and then a 7th one, okay, called roof. So the first thing to do would be to change this to 14, and then probably copy and seal. And if I copy, I can copy 1 and 1, and I'm a dummy guy here copying 1 by 1. So there's the multiple copy option, and you can copy. We have 3, 4, 5, 6. There's going to be a 7th one, which is the roof level, okay? Level 1 to 6, last one is 7. At a top of parapet level at 3 feet. That means that I'm going to actually, for example, copy 3, and this is going to be called top of parapet. I recommend that you always use capital letters, and we will talk right after the recordings to what is this parapet, but basically it's that detail that it extends the facade in relationship to the roof level. Okay, so we need to start naming things properly. Okay, we're gonna name each of the levels as, first you can say 1 ST floor. It asks you, well, do you want to rename this in your floor plans views? Yes. You rename this and you call it 2nd floor, etc., etc. Now the big question here is probably, how come I have 1, 2, I have 7, 8 levels, but I only have 2 in the view plans? Anybody remembers how to change that? Well, I'm recording, so it's kind of weird too. Anyway, you go to view, and what you have to do if you copy the levels instead of creating them one by one, you need to go to view, plan view, floor plans, and tell Revit, hey, I want these guys to be in here as a view. You select them all. Okay. There they are. They're open by default, so you can go to the first level, first floor, and close all of them, so you make sure you're working with one window alone. You can rename floors by right-clicking on the view as well, and say rename, and say 3rd floor. And it's going to ask you the opposite. Do you want to rename the level in association? Say yes, etc., etc. Okay. Level 7 should be roof level. Okay, and I'm not going to rename the other ones because I'm lazy and I don't have much time. Okay, again, at this point, if we go to elevations, we have a series of levels from first floor to top of parapet, distance 3 and 14, etc. Okay, so this will be a good time to save and keep on reading. This explains pretty much what I have been talking about. You can select the numbers and change the height of the level by clicking on the number. What I did is actually selected the level line and changed the dimension that appears automatically. You can use either option. The other way of changing is changing the name. You click on the title of the level and then you click again and you can change the level. Now all of these names, you should explore again the drawing list to know exactly and precisely how you want to name each view. We will get to see this as we go. Okay. This is an explanation of how you get and extract the floor plans by going to view and floor plan selecting so they appear here, etc. By the way, not exactly these print screens are not exactly what I record. Okay, So don't feel confused by that. Okay, next step is grids. And this drawing seems a little messy, but it's quite straightforward from my point of view. Let's go there. We need to place vertical grids all the way from the grid number 1 to the 16, offset from the green line that we created before 1 feet and 6 inches, and then each of them are distance 20 feet and 6. Let's do that. We go first floor, and we're going to go to architecture and grid. Now I could again offset the line and draw on top, or I can just use the offset for 1 and 6 spacebar and draw that vertically. A grid gives you automatically a number with a little bubble, but not in the top, so you probably want to click that if you want the bubble to appear in the other side as well. Okay, again, you can double check by going to annotate and align and measure this to make sure that this 1 foot 6 inches. Okay. At this point, we need to distance 20 feet 6 inches between each of them. So the way to do it, I think, is copy, select CO for copy, 20 spacebar 6, and I'm not going to copy more. I'm going to select copy and say multiple, and go all the way to the end horizontally, of course. If you don't have that same distance, which is 1 and 6, obviously the measurements are properly set, you made a mistake in your previous set of line drawings, so go back and revise them properly. Okay. As you can see, automatically they're added a number. So here's the problem: if you delete one of them and you create it, you're going to have to change the numbers one by one because you're missing one number. Okay. So be careful with deleting a grid and adding another one in the same place. It doesn't know, Revit doesn't know that you deleted one, so be careful with that. Okay. We're going to go vertically from the grid A to the grid F, and it's going to be 1 feet and 6 inches, and then 24 and 10. Okay, so we're going to do the same. Architectural grid 1 spacebar 6. There we go. I'm going to extend this, create another bubble there, and if I remember well, it's 24, 10, and 10. So you can do a copy 24, 10, and 10. Now here's a couple of tools. I can select these 3 grids and select mirror, creating an axis. I go to the midpoint and I get the mirrors. I just revised that. I kind of made a stupid mistake there. I could have named this one A and copied them, and the next one is automatically named B, C, D, etc. But because I didn't do it and I'm a dummy guy, I can just double click there and set this manually afterwards. Okay, again from A to F. Next, we're going to set this ones from double E to double N, and I'll talk about how this works normally. So the way it works again is a grid, offset of 1, 6, draw this one back, snap there, no, opposite direction, bubble, and these ones are going to be renamed as double E. So you go to that one and EE, and now we start copying them, space 20 feet, no? So CO, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, oh, there's that. Now when you get nervous like I am right now because the time is running out, you make mistakes. So just take it easy. Breathe. E, F, G, etc. You have to rename them properly. I will do that in the break. Nevertheless, we need another grid here, so we're going to set a grid. Do an offset of 1 and 6 as well to the perimeter of this next element. We need a bubble there. And I can do a mirror of this by selecting mirror and from the midpoint that one and extending this one up. Oops. So you see how you can extend one and all of them follow? You can actually click it and make it 2D by clicking on the 3D and dragging only one. That's the difference between the 2D and 3D, is a link relationship. Now we will see that this one is 4 because it's the same grid line, but these ones have to be renamed properly. So that's what I'm going to do right now.